So when one of my contemporaries tries to mention me as a mobster, he knows better. Once you figure out who I'm talking about, you can gauge his motives. He should be ashamed of himself and let him hang out with his crew. And he knows that I know who they are.
Oh, there is a vicious catfight between Stephen A. Smith and the president of the Bronzexuals, who is also the captain of the SS White Privilege, Nick Wright. Long story short, Stephen A. Smith has been engaging in a back and forth with Boston Celtics star Jaylen Brown. And for reasons unknown, Nick Wright decided to take his nose out of LeBron's ass and stick it in Stephen A.'s business. As a result, Stephen A. Smith exposed Nick Wright and told us what we already knew. Nick Wright is a mouthpiece for LeBron James and Clutch Sports, which to me is a direct conflict of interest. Media personalities, they should not share agents with the athletes that they are covering. Nick Wright is clearly obsessed with LeBron James. I remember a couple of years ago, Nick Wright was sitting courtside at a Lakers game. I think they were playing in Memphis. He was the chosen Make-A-Wish kid that night, and LeBron James came over and shook his hand and made all his dreams come true. The dude damn near passed out. He was like a teenage girl in 1998 meeting one of the Backstreet Boys. Oh, Howie, you're so dreamy. I will say this, though, about Nick Wright. For starters, First Things First is a great show. It is significantly better than First Take. Hell, outside of PTI, it's better than everything on ESPN. Nick Wright, Wilds, Chris Broussard, they do a phenomenal job. And I say that as someone who can't stand Nick Wright. Between his white guilt, apologizing for white privilege, and his incessant worship of his Lord and risen King, I love you, LeBron. There's just really not much to like about Nick Wright. But credit where credit is due. He does a great job on First Things First on topics that do not involve the object of his devotion. Nick Wright also has some good points about Stephen A. Smith. Since he signed his new contract with ESPN, where Stevie is making $100 million over 5 years, it seems like Stephen A. Smith thinks that he is on the same level as star NBA players. When he's covering NBA games, he has ESPN filming him walking into the arena. He often makes these veiled threats to NBA players. He threatens to expose them. Don't make me be a journalist, damn it! Don't make me do my job! It's just weird. But even with all his faults, the one thing Stephen A. Smith should never apologize for is exposing Nick Wright, which is exactly what Nick Wright is now demanding. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the main channels in the description below. Yesterday, Nick Wright demanded an apology from Stephen A. Smith for exposing him to the public as a bronzexual. Watch it for yourself.
Him saying that there was something more nefarious afoot is a flat-out 100% fabrication. And so here's the request, and I mean this one. I would like an apology or a retraction or a clarification. But what's not going to happen here is utter and complete fantasy about how and why I do what I do.
Dear Stevie, it's me, Nikki. Will you please apologize for hurting my feelings? I'm on your side, man. I apologize for my white privilege. Why can't you apologize for making me cry? Sincerely yours, not out of spite, Nick Wright. Let me make sure I'm understanding this correctly. Nick Wright wants Stephen A. Smith to apologize for exposing what we have known all along. Nick Wright wants Stephen A. to apologize for telling the truth. You have a weird obsession with LeBron James. Ironically enough, you're signed to Clutch Sports, and you expect me to believe that has no influence on your coverage of LeBron? To make matters worse, you started this cat fight. Stephen A. Smith wasn't talking about you. You were talking about him. Again, what Nick Wright initially said about Stephen A. wasn't wrong. He does act like a mob boss. He does perceive himself as being on the same level as star NBA players. But you can't attack someone publicly. You can't inject yourself into a situation that has nothing to do with you, then turn around and demand an apology when that person fights back. That would be like you punching someone in the face and demanding an apology when they knock your ass out. Me personally, and this is pure speculation on my part, but I think there is something deeper here between Stephen A. Smith and Nick Wright. Whether it's jealousy, maybe Stephen A. is worried that Nick Wright is a rising star. Maybe Nick Wright feels like he's better than Stephen A. Smith. His show is better than First Take, and he is severely underpaid. There's a reason for this animosity, and I don't think it has anything to do with Jaylen Brown. Something deeper is going on here. I don't know what it is, but it feels like we are missing part of the story. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later on the main channel.